Awesome. Hello. This is my third try because Pear Deck hasn't been working and I've been silly doing this screencastify. But hello, welcome. I'm Madeline St. Marie. I am a PhD candidate at UCR studying ancient history, but I also teach 6th and 7th grade social studies for Denver Public Schools. And so today I wanted to just show some of you a resource that I've been using in my classroom. I'll be in a middle school classroom, but that I think would be really, really great for those of you in higher ed doing remote learning or doing synchronous and asynchronous modalities, because Pear Deck allows for student interaction and immediate feedback on what you're doing in a way that we don't really get when we're teaching with just a slide deck. So today I'm going to just talk quickly about Pear Deck. Pear Deck is a platform that is a add-on that you can use for Google Slides or Office, PowerPoint. And essentially what it does is it makes your slide deck interactable. Students can actually respond to you. They can answer questions. You can embed websites and have them go through it together so everyone can read the same document. And it's kind of really neat because if you structure it to work asynchronously, students can actually engage with it after class or outside of regular lecture class hours. So I think that's pretty neat for accessibility. So I use it for Google Suite because that's what our district uses, but it does have an add-on for PowerPoint. I'm just not as familiar with it, so I'll be using Google Slides to demonstrate this. So you can add the add-on by going to add-ons on this top taskbar and just clicking on Get Add-ons, and it's the Pear Deck for Google Slides add-on, so I can go ahead and just open it. It's going to take a second. I'll be working for a little bit. But essentially what I do is I use this to help engage students in real time and make my classes more interesting. I don't tell my students to put their cameras on, and I still get, I would say, like 90% engagement from most kids through this platform. So while it's working, I'll just kind of show you what it does. So this week we're talking about ancient Mesopotamia and ancient aliens because I'm teaching my students to interrogate secondary sources and interpretations of primary source material. I don't pitch it to them like that, but that's what I'm doing. And so in order to do that, I show a series of videos and maybe some readings and then have students respond in various ways. So one of the things that I do pretty much every day is have a warm-up. And a warm-up is a pre-write. So essentially I ask the students to reflect on either the topic itself or something related to it. So for example, ancient Mesopotamia is the cradle of civilization. And so I ask students to reflect on how does someone act civilized, just to see what they think about when they think of civilization or acting civilized. And so what we see here is a screen that looks like a regular PowerPoint slide and then a little bar at the bottom that says students write your response. And the way that you get this is you click on the text here, and what it'll do is add a interactive question to your current slide. You can also do multiple choice. You can also have them do numbers. You can embed a website so that everyone's browsing the website at the same time. And then if you get the premium subscription, you can have them draw or drag something on the slide. You can also, if you have the premium, add audio to the slide, which can be really good for students who are engaging with your lessons asynchronously. But what this looks like on the student side is something like this. So this is currently in student paste, or rather this is what you would see. So let me go join it, copy link. See if it loads, presentation session student, we'll let it load. So the first thing it always does, no matter what happens, anytime a student opens it, it asks them how they're feeling today. So this is also a way to see like how your students are feeling. They can skip it. But I'm feeling okay. Doing all right. I'm hanging in there. And then what it does is it brings the student to the slide deck. Now, if it's in student pace, which allows the student to move through the slides at their own pace, they will have this sort of taskbar at the bottom, which tells you how many slides are in the deck, and also has a way for them to engage with it. So this is week 4, ancient Mesopotamia and ancient aliens. Since this is the beginning of my deck on Mondays, I start with the land acknowledgement, and then move on to the actual lecture itself, which is today we're just learning about ancient Mesopotamia. It's an introduction. So let's say that I'm starting the class and I want them to do the warm-up and ask them about who they think is civilized or how does someone act civilized. What they see here is the slide deck, And then they have an answer section. So what they would say is, I think that someone acts civilized by being educated and being polite. Okay. So that's my response. The student doesn't have to press enter. They can literally just write it. They can add another response if they want to. They can keep writing. It can take a lot of text. And what that looks like on the teaching side is, if I were to go here, I would see, okay, that I think that someone acts civilized by being educated and polite. I would see the name of the student and I would see how they're doing. And from here, what I can do is I can hide the response, I can star the answer, and I can leave feedback. So I can say, that's great. Can you give me an example of someone who does that? Okay, and then they get feedback. If I pop back over here, let's see. They're supposed to, oh, here you go. My camera was covering it. I didn't see it. You have new feedback. So that pops up with a little message or down here, and they can see teacher feedback. That's great. Can you give me an example of somebody who does that? So you can say, okay, I read that, and then maybe revise their answer. An example is my mom. I don't know. Whatever. So this way students can respond to you, you can respond to them, and you can see how folks are feeling. If you want to actually share these responses, there is a way to do that. So I will show you. So you can click on show responses, and there's also a projector tab if you're doing this live. Probably should have organized this better. But basically, there's a projector tab, right? So this is what you could project to the students during lecture. And then if you wanted to share the responses, then you see, here's a response. I think that someone acts civilized by being educated and being polite. Notice that this is anonymous, right? Like the students can't see who did it. So it's a nice way to show student work without necessarily putting someone on the spot or making anyone feel embarrassed. And the great thing about this is that you can, of course, from the teacher end, you could lay it out by a grid if you want more room for more answers. You could sort it by response or by student. So if you have a lot of students in there and you really want them to engage, you could see who hasn't responded but is logged into your deck. That's really good for K-12 teachers because you can prompt engagement by being like, oh, great job, Madeline, for getting started. I would love to see Jordan getting started too. Let's keep it moving. Let's make sure we're showing engagement. It's a great way to positively narrate your classroom. Okay, so what I like the most about the Pear Deck, though, is that not only is it text answers, but if you get into some of the draw or draggable ones, and I'll just go ahead and add this here. So you can actually use their template library, which is nice. So the template library has stuff like the beginning of lessons, like as you come and get settled, follow these directions, or what did you learn from the homework? Think of a question your classmates might have. What do you wonder? A draggable slide is like, how was the homework? How are you feeling? They also have things like during lessons for transitions, end of lessons reflections, their social emotional learning. So like what is filling your bucket today and what is draining it? A stress check. I like using this one. So let's say we wanted to add a stress check here. What would happen is that this slide would be popped into your deck and students would be able to show you how they're feeling by dragging an icon. Oops. In the slide. I just moved that. I shouldn't have moved that. Come back. So then you could see in real time how all of your students are feeling. You can show other students, wow, it seems like everybody's at a 10. Let's talk about that. Or maybe, we need to take a break, right? You can there's also slides that are like, do you understand this? How are you feeling? And it's like, yeah, I totally get it, to, whoa, please, wait, go over that again. So it's a really great way to engage students who might be in class with you or on Zoom or any other conferencing software, which I like a lot. And the best thing about it is that when you are actually presenting it, you can have it be a live presentation, which means that as you are going through, the students will be forced to watch your slides as you're giving the lecture. But if you turn it on to student-paced, the students will be able to progress. I have to move this camera everywhere. The students will be able to progress through the slides at their own pace, right? So I have all sorts of slides, different videos, stuff like that. But if it's in non-student paced, I'm unable to move the slides. I would have to wait for the teacher or professor, whoever's giving the presentation, to move them. So this is just a cool tool to keep people engaged. You can have people revise their answers if you're looking for revision. You can share answers, have students reflect on them. You can check for engagement and understanding. And generally, it's just a nice resource to kind of zhuzh up your PowerPoint presentations a little bit. Okay, I hope that helps. Good luck, everybody. We're surviving one way or the other. Bye.